Sabi nila bilog ang bola. Pero kung nanggaling ka sa isa sa mga or sa pinaka-worst na NBA records of all time, makakabalik ka ba? At kung subukan man, ano ang mga kailangan gawin to make such difference sa span lang ng ilang taon? Kasi yung journey mula ilalim papunta sa itaas ay hindi madali. Sa NBA, the way I look at it, para makapasok ka sa top 8, hindi enough na mag-improve ka lang. Kailangan meron kang papalitan. Kailangan meron kang maungusan before you get in. Well, today, sa klase natin, pag-uusapan natin ang 759 Bobcats at kung paano sila naka-recover and eventually became a playoff team. Ito ang kwento ng worst team ever at kung paano sila naging isang playoff contender. Magandang araw, class. Today, ang topic natin dito sa klase ay kung paano or how to turn the worst team ever into a playoff contender. Pag-uusapan natin ng Charlotte Bobcats under Coach Steve Clifford. Well, hindi naman talaga sila naging playoff contender per se, pero at least they were competitive. And kung paano kasi tinurn yung franchise around, like from zero to hero, well, not necessarily a hero, pero from literally the worst team ever into one of the better playoff teams sa Eastern Conference nung mid-2010s, let's just say, or a couple of years or a few years nung 2010s, yung recipe or kung paano siya tinurn around, yun yung pag-uusapan natin today. Kasi I think yung specific strategy na ginamit ni Coach Steve Clifford para sa Charlotte Bobcats, I think can apply to basically any team, can apply to literally even yung pinakamababang level ng basketball or sa kahit na anong level. And I know, hindi ito yung topic na papatok sa masa, pero this topic is very close to my heart. Before ako maging Orlando Magic fan, I used to be a Charlotte Bobcats fan. Ever since pumasok si Kemba Walker noong 2011, so yes, inabot ko yung 7-win season. That's my first year as a fan. Not fully engaged, pero kumbaga yung taon na yon pagpasok ni Kemba after ng step back niya sa UConn, sabi ko, okay, ito yung bago kong paboritong player. Susundan ko siya kahit siya mapunta. And unfortunately, and actually, fortunately, nasa Bobcat siya napunta kasi marami akong natutunan, marami akong lessons, and siguro yung mental fortitude na develop at a very young age, maybe like 12 or 11 at that time. So, thankful ako sa Bobcats na to. And itong video na to, matagal ko nang gustong gawin. I think it's time that I cover it. Kahit na alam ko hindi papatok sa masa, pero this is a topic I am very passionate about. And very passionate to share to you, class, ang aking mga alam based on my experience. Actually, hanggang 2018, inabot ko yung first year ni James Borrego. And si Steve Clifford, lumipat siya sa Magic. So, lumipat din ako sa Magic kasi paborito ko talaga yung philosophies ni Steve Clifford. And I like what the Orlando Magic did noong 2018 na nag-add sila ng mga lengthy wings and positionless basketball, borderline noong panahon na yon. Even at an early stage sa Orlando Magic stint ni Steve Clifford, talagang in-apply niya na yung identity niya sa Bobcats but made it better and made it more absurd. So ito, very passionate ako to share to you guys kung ano yung strategy na ginawa ng Bobcats, kung paano sila naging worst team ever to somewhat competitive kasi bihira lang to na pag-uusapan. Kaya simulan muna natin sa history kung bakit tayo nandito in the first place. Yung Bobcats team bago pumasok si Steve Clifford, arguably ang worst team ever. Tanging silver lining lang sa team na to, si Kemba Walker. Tsaka kung medyo weird kayo kagaya ko, na-enjoy nyo ring panoorin si Byron Mullins plays best year of his career. And despite being the worst team ever, ang ending, hindi pa rin nila naland ang first overall pick na si Anthony Davis. Sana. May mga conspiracy pa nga na kamay daw ng NBA yon and may control ang NBA since they owned partially New Orleans Hornets nung panahon na yon. Pero anyway, the Bobcats still screwed up kasi they took Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or MKG as the second overall pick. And alam naman natin how it turned out. Sa season na yon, sa sumunod na season, they finished 21-61 under Mike Dunlap. An improvement, pero hindi pa rin enough to be a playoff team. Pero nung sumunod ulit na season, pumasok sina Al Jefferson after being recruited by Kemba kasi apparently he was tired of losing. And then pinasok nila si Steve Clifford as their head coach, isang well-respected long-time NBA assistant, to lead them noong 2013-14.
And then from 21 wins, tinapos nila ang sumunod na season sa record na 43-39. Grabe, ang laki ng itinaas. Pero bakit kaya? Well, yan ang agenda natin today. Pag-uusapan natin paano tinurn ni Steve Clifford from 21 wins into 43, making them one of the better teams sa Eastern Conference and eventually making the playoffs.
Pumasok si Steve Clifford sa Bobcats with a very simple philosophy. Don't beat yourself. Very common kasi with young teams or losing teams ay yung lack of discipline and yung lack of knowledge in terms of playing the right way. That's why we see young teams or rebuilding teams hire very stern or very rigid head coaches kasi yun yung mga identity setter, culture setter. Sila yung nagtuturo or yung naglalapag ng foundation for those teams to actually learn first kung paano maging solid NBA team or solid team in general, and then after nun, they build. Then eventually, the team nagbabago yung expectations, nagbabago yung kailangan sa team. So they feel the need to hire someone na mas tactically mature, mas tactically superior. Pero yung mga ganong klaseng coaches, sila yung nagtuturn from actual garbage to somewhat of a very decent team na yun yung perfect baseline for another coach to come in and change everything and make the team even better. Kasi nabuo na eh. Meron ng foundation eh. Solid na eh. Kumbaga, yung sinisimulan mong project, meron nang naka-ready. Kumbaga, may disiplina na yung players. Hindi na sila bulakbol. Yung mga ganong klaseng factors ba of coming into a team. Kumbaga, na siya, naka-pre-cooked na. Bumili ka ng hamburger na pre-cooked na yung burger. So, ilalagay mo na lang sa pan. Diba? Si-season mo na lang and everything. So, for Bobcats, ang naging problema kasi nila nung panahon ni Steve Clifford, all throughout, kasi lagi silang palpak in terms of bringing in talent. So outside of Al Jefferson and Kemba Walker, maybe 2016-17, Batum and Jeremy Lin, maybe Courtney Lee, pero chamba na lang kasi yun eh. Yun yung mga trade deadline moves na isasalba mo na lang i-season. Pero anyway, diba, in terms of bringing in talent, starting from the draft, palpak na kasi talaga and wala silang pyesa to actually compete with the better or with the greater teams like Atlanta Hawks nung panahon na yun, Miami Heat. And then pagdating naman sa West, di ba, yung mga teams kagaya ng Spurs, Warriors, nagsisimula ng lumakas, Rockets, kay James Harden. So kumbaga, kulang talaga sila sa pyesa and parang na-recognize si Steve Clifford na okay, for us to really compete and at least be competitive, wag natin talunin yung sarili natin. Hindi natin madadaan sa fair power, ma-outscore whatsoever. We just need to play very solid, honest basketball, which is yun yung ginawa nila. That's why kumbaga, kung babalikan mo, nasa gitna sila, which is not bad, considering na kung anong meron sila. Kumbaga, starter mo, Cody Zeller, Frank Kaminsky, Marvin Williams, Gerald Henderson, yung mga ganong klaseng players ba. Off the bench, PJ Hairston. So, kumbaga, the fact na ganun yung roster and still mid to bottom tier sila sa playoffs ng Eastern Conference. Very impressive. Okay, pangalawang part ng philosophy ay yung defensive philosophy ng Bobcats. Ito yung pinakamalaking naging improvement nila coming from the 7-win season under Paul Silas and Mike Dunlap. Pagdating ni Steve Clifford, talaga nag-180 yung defense ng Bobcats. Talagang from okay lang or from bad, ito yung naging biglang main asset nila sa team. Ito yung naging strength nila, yung defense. So 2013 to 14 season, ang Charlotte Bobcats ang 6th best defense sa buong NBA with 104.6 defensive rating. This is mostly due to few things. Na again, babalik dun sa idea of not beating yourself. Una sa lahat, ang pinaka-importanteng ma-establish dito ay yung pace nila na very slow. Mabagal sila maglaro. And if they can manage to slow the game down, mas nakakapag-set yung defense nila, which highlights their defensive prowess and yung ability nila to sit down and defend their opponents. And players like Al Jefferson na kumbaga siya yung center of their offense and yung kumbaga sa kanya nagge-generate most of their offense. Kapag slow yung pace, nabibigyan siya ng time to come back and be an effective defensive player at the very least. And in terms of playing defense, like as in yung pagdepensa nila sa mga kalaban, they play conservative defense. Hands off, hands up, hindi sila puma-foul, they just sit down, stay in front of their man. And again, babalik siya dun sa idea of not beating yourself. They were 29th in steals noong 2013 to 14 season. Ibig sabihin, hindi talaga sila nag-a-attempt sumundot. hands-off talaga sila. Pero ang kapalit nun, lagi naman silang nasa tuktok ng NBA in terms of fewest fouls committed. So, ibig sabihin nun, hindi sila umi-steal pero hindi rin sila puma-foul. In terms of their philosophies, pag-usapan natin yung rebounding ng Charlotte Bobcats. Meron dalawang sides ang rebounding, of course. Defense tsaka offense. Defensive rebounding, they're one of the better ones. Top 7 sila ng 2013 to 14 in terms of defensive rebounding. So, kumbaga, after a good defensive possession, they prioritize, of course, to close it out by being active on the defensive glass. And alongside their very solid defensive rebounding, in terms of offensive rebounding, isa sila sa mga worst teams kasi nga hindi nila pinaprioritize. Hindi ko nga pwedeng sabihin na worst kasi walang intent to actually do it hindi nila tinatry. Like, bahala ka na dyan. Sa inyo na yan. Basta bababa kami sa defense. If makuha nyo yung defensive rebound nyo, well, okay. At least nakabalik kami. Yun yung logic ng Bobcats under Steve Clifford. And then pagdating naman ng offensive philosophy, this is going to be a shorter one kumpara sa defense. Pero pag-usapan muna natin si Kemba and si Big Al. Si Kemba, most of his possessions nanggagaling sa ball screens. Of course, dadalhin mo muna sa pick and roll si Kemba and si Big Al. Gagamitin mo yung gravity ni Big Al as a roller. Si Kemba, early in his career, more of a slasher kasi inconsistent shooter siya. Pero eventually, na-develop niya yung game niya to be able to shoot or to score from 3 levels. And then si Big Al naman, Big Al is Big Al. Kapag nilagay mo sa poste si Big Al, he's going to score most of the time. And unfortunately, di ba, naging obsolete kasi yung ganong klaseng player, post-up big, na medyo liability sa defense. Pero kasi, the fact na yung pace ng Bobcats, very slow. Kumbaga, it allows Big Al to come back. Kumbaga sa opensa, i-score siya ng 2 points. Pero since hindi nga sila nagka-crash ng offensive glass at binabagalan nila yung pace, nabibigyan ng time si Big Al para bumalik defensively at umupo. At maitago man lang or andun man lang siya and matago yung lack of athleticism and speed. Kasi sa offensive end, Big Al is going to score most of the time kasi isa siya sa mga pinaka-creative and pinaka-effective post-up big sa generation natin na fortunately very underrated and naging obsolete around mga 2015 kasi sabi ng NBA, tama na yan, mag-small ball tayo. And unfortunately, siya yung isa sa mga pinaka naging malaking biktima nung trend na yon sa NBA. So ayun, putting it all together, ang idea ulit ay don't beat yourself. Huwag mong tatalunin yung sarili mo. So basically, ang gusto ko lang sabihin, ang formula for success, kahit sa ang level ng basketball, disiplina and playing the right way. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng playing the right way. You don't make dumb decisions. You don't make stupid decisions. You play smart basketball and you pick your battles. Kung gusto mong dumepensa, huwag ka na mag-offensive glass. 'Di ba? Kung gusto mo maka-level sa mas talented na kalaban mo, huwag kang pumaul. 'Di ba? Play honest defense. And then kung gusto mo na ma-highlight yung strengths or meron kang mga 2-3 talented offensive players sa team, slow down mo yung game para mas ma-highlight mo yung skills nila. Kasi pag ginawa mong takbuhan, ma-overwhelm ka kumpara sa mga kalaban. Or kumbaga ma-overwhelm ka sa talent ng kalaban. Kasi mas maraming possessions. Pag binabawasan kasi yung possessions, binabagalan yung pace, mas nagiging level yung playing field. And yun yung logic ng Bobcats under Coach Steve Clifford. Kaya sila naging somewhat successful. At least sa kalagitnaan man lang ng playoff race. Kasi nilevel nila yung playing field. Instead na sila yung umangat dun sa kalaban, binaba nila yung kalaban sa level nila. And they kept the game or their game close every single game as much as they can. Tinry nila na dikit hanggang dulo, mga 93 to 91, diba? Tapos kailangan lang ng clutch basket from Kemba para itabla or makalamang. And that's why nag-jump yung wins nila from 21 to 43. Kasi binigyan lang nila yung sarili nila lang chance para lang manalo. And then, nakadepende na yun sa execution sa late game. Which is, yung ganun kasing klase ng situation or ng period sa game. Yung execution, nakadepende na yan sinong mas makakapag-execute regardless of talent. Of course, talent is very important. Kung kalaban mo ba naman Kevin Durant, diba, makakascore at makakascore pag nilagay sa tamang spot. Pero, diba, binibigyan mo yung chance mo. Binibigyan mo yung sarili mo ng chance rather. To at least, diba, makachamba ka man lang. And, it sounds bad, pero kumbaga, considering na kung anong meron sila nung time na yon in terms of players, the fact na naging mid-tier sila na playoff team sa East, very impressive yun. And yun yung parang proof na hindi mo kailangan ng world-breaking or kumbaga yung mga strategy na talagang nakaka-bend ng utak. Kailangan mo lang to go back to the roots of basketball and play the right way. Play discipline. Tanggalin mo lahat ng taba, di ba? Kumbaga sa sisig, wala masyadong laman. Wala masyadong taba, rather. Pero anyway, I really appreciate you, class, for sticking. And kung umabot kayo dito, thank you very much. And thank you for being here. Yun lang para sa klase na to. This has been very long. Masyado nang mahaba tong video na to. Yun lang naman for this one. Thank you for being here. Maraming salamat.